Cry Havoc. Exterior, suburban street, day. It's a beautiful early afternoon. A girl, 10 years old, proudly rides a new bike down a street. She wears an ear-to-ear smile that could light up a city. On the bike handle is a spiffy bicycle bell. The girl rings it a few times. Each time, she giggles. She turns a corner onto another street, out of sight. The sound of her bicycle bell rings twice. Then, bang, 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 3 loud gunshots. The world turns to black. Interior, interview room, police station, day. JP, early 40s, dark-skinned, ruggedly handsome, smart, sits behind a cold steel table, waiting. The door opens. In walks Sergeant PATTIE Walters, mid-30s, smart, tough, and all business. She sits opposite JP. She has a set of manila folders, puts them on the table.
Mr. Pedron, I'm Sergeant PATTIE Walters, Gangs and Narcotics Division. Thank you for...
So, you have an update?
There's been a development.
A development?
We'll get to that.
PATTIE opens one of the folders.
J.P. Pedron. Graduated Stanford at 19, then got a master's degree in linguistics at Berkeley. Fluent in 5 languages, English, French, Pashto, Arabic, and Spanish?
Yes, I am.
Then, at 22, enlisted in the Corps. Basic training in Fort Benning, followed by 4 tours in Afghanistan. Translator and community envoy?
That is correct.
Okay. And now you're an adjunct professor at the Citadel?
Sergeant, I'm here as a courtesy, not for a recap of my resume.
JP, right? Look, I'm just trying to piece together a few things, that's all. Get the bigger picture.
JP sighs, looks out the window, at the sky. Interior, Parker family house, garage, morning. The garage door is open. The morning sun shines in. JP puts the finishing touches to a child's bicycle. A door to the garage opens, and a woman, Mary, mid-30s, svelte, intense, graceful, steps in. She wears pajama shorts and a t-shirt. She holds 2 cups of coffee, hands one to JP. Mary looks at her watch, then at JP, smiles mockingly.
What?
My man can disarm an IED in 30 seconds flat, but needs 3 hours to put together a child's bicycle.
Mary laughs. JP then starts to laugh too. JP then takes a step back to admire his work. Mary kisses JP on the shoulder and looks outside.
Perfect.
JP looks at Mary, and then the bike, and then outside.
Perfect.
JP glances up at the sky, smiles blissfully. Interior, police station, interview room, day. PATTIE stares at JP. JP holds eye contact.
The bigger picture?
Tell me about April 30th.
It was Kayla's birthday.
And she went for a ride?
To see a school friend.
Rena Guzman, niece of Tino Guzman?
I'm aware.
What do you know about Tino?
Nothing.
Nothing? Really?
JP looks outside at a car parked in the street. Interior, car, night. Close in, on JP. Front seat of his car, on the driver's side. He stares intently at something in the distance.
You're at a fork in the road, Tino. One way you die, clean. The other, no open casket. You decide.
Pull back to reveal Tino, 30s, Hispanic. Sits next to JP. His head has been strapped with duct tape to the headrest. His mouth's also taped over. His eyes are full of fear.
Which one?
Tino stares for a long time at JP. One tear slowly falls down his cheek. He nods, lifts up his taped hands, and points to a house 30 yards away. JP's eyes sharpen, and his jaw clenches in anger. Interior, police station, interview room, day. PATTIE stands by the door, her arms folded.
So you know nothing about Tino. What about Los Zetas?
JP shakes his head, confused.
Tino was a low-level dealer for Los Zetas. A nobody who liked to play the ponies, but couldn't pick a winner for shit. So he got in a hole. A deep hole. The kind of hole that enticed him to bite the hand that feeds.
He stole from the Los Zetas?
Los Zetas are a big, savage gang. The kind that eats its own, if its own's been skimming off the top.
So it was an assassination attempt. But they missed, didn't they?
They got their man eventually.
Patty tosses a picture across the table to JP. JP looks at the photo, cringes.
Where were you last Tuesday at 1 a.m.?
At home, consoling my wife, on account of our daughter being dead.
Interior, Parker family house, night. JP sits at the foot of his bed. He wears dark pants and a vest. He stares out the window, lost in thought. Mary enters the room and softly, silently crawls onto the bed behind JP. She puts her arms around his shoulders and rests her head against his neck. Her eyes are puffy from crying, her countenance distant and expressionless.
I'll prepare.
JP takes one of Mary's hands and kisses it tenderly, nods in stoic agreement. Mary lets go of JP and heads out of the room, leaving JP alone on the bed. POV from under the bed. JP's feet on the floor in front of the bed. He reaches between his legs and pulls out a large black canvas bag from under the bed. JP stands, a thump, as the bag is placed on the bed. The sound of a zipper opening, rattling of metallic objects, a few clicks. A single bullet casing drops to the floor in front of the bed. JP picks up the bullet. A moment of silence as JP's knees bounce up and down, then a muffled, plaintive wail. Painful, primal, yet restrained. A deep breath, then JP's knees stop bouncing. The sound of the bag being zipped tight. JP stands and leaves the room. The door closes. The only object under the bed is a solitary My Little Pony. Interior, police station, interview room, day. Patty paces around the room.
Can anyone verify you were home?
No. Do I need a lawyer?
A loud knock at the door. Greg Dobson, late 20s, eager to please, peeps his head in.
A word, boss?
Patty sits up, follows Greg out of the room. Interior, police station, day. Greg has walked Patty to his desk, picks up some files, starts walking with Patty back to the interview room.
That the coroner's report?
Ballistics confirmed the bullets came from the same gun. And get this, the ammo was homemade, untraceable.
A pro?
Or a red cap wearing survivalist.
Anything else?
Heads decapitated, and their testicles were, stuffed down their throats.
Sinaloa's signature.
So it'd seem.
Yeah. So it'd seem.
Patty nods to Greg, who walks away. Patty opens the door to the interview room. Interior, police station, interview room, day. Patty looks at Parker, shakes her head. Something's off.
Sergeant, my goodwill fades by the second.
Patty tosses a few pictures across the table at JP. He looks at the pictures with genuine distaste.
What is this?
That? That's what war between rival drug gangs looks like.
A bell rings off in the distance. JP looks outside again. Exterior, gang house, night. A large, intimidating, bald Hispanic man, mid-30s, stands on a porch. He sees a man in dark sweatpants and a black hoodie rolling a child's bicycle along the sidewalk. The hoodie man, JP, stops in front of the house. The fearsome bald man steps down from the porch, stares at JP. JP walks the bike halfway up the house's pathway, then drops it in front of the bald man.
Fuck you doing?
JP stays silent. So bald man reaches into his pants, pulls out a small gun, holds it horizontally, approaches JP.
Yo, step off.
JP says nothing, looks down at the bike. The bald man follows his eyes, notices blood all over the bike. His teeth clench. He steps in closer to JP, holds the gun up against his head.
You want to get smoked, Pops?
Bald man pushes his gun firmer against JP's head. In turn, JP pulls his hood back.
Do you?
Bald man looks at JP, annoyed. Then, pht! Bald man holds a hand to his throat. It's bleeding, badly. He looks down, sees JP holding a Sig Sauer P365 pistol with a long suppressor attached. JP takes bald man's gun before he falls to his knees. Interior, gang house, kitchen, night. 3 gang members sit around a table. Youngster, early 20s, chubby, late 30s, and skinny, late 30s. They're playing dominoes, drinking beer. They're speaking Spanish, laughing at each other. Skinny suddenly stops.
You hear that?
Hear what?
Then they all hear the sound of a bike bell being rung.
Yo, Enzo!
No response. Skinny looks at Youngster.
Check it out.
Youngster gets up, walks out of the kitchen. Exterior, gang house, front porch, continuous. Youngster opens the door, notices the porch light is out as he steps down on broken glass. Then he sees Enzo's body. Out of the shadows, a gun taps the back of his head.
Shh!
Interior, gang house, kitchen, continuous. Youngster appears at the kitchen doorway, scared and nervous.
What's going on with Enzo?
Duck.
Youngster ducks down. JP shoots both Skinny and Chubby in their hearts. Both slump over the table, dead. JP walks Youngster over to a chair around the table, sits him down, kneels in front of Youngster. With his gun, he points upstairs, then holds out his left hand with 5 fingers. Youngster shakes his head, so JP lowers 1 finger to make it 4. Youngster nods. JP stares at him. Youngster nods again. JP stands and shoots Youngster in the head. JP sees a machete propped against a wall, grabs it. Interior, police station interview room, day. PATTIE taps her pen against a notepad, gets JP's attention.
A little history for you. In the 90s, Mexico's Sinaloan cartel got themselves a beachhead in the good old US of A. Over here, they call themselves Los Zetas. And their biggest rival is a Guatemalan-backed gang called Mara Salvatrucha, or MS-13. For the last 5 years, shit's been mostly quiet. But that's about to change. The heads, with their nuts in their mouths, MS-13. The execution style, that's Sinaloan.
So this is the development? This? What's it have to do with me?
Nothing. Or maybe everything. You see, when crap like this goes down, it's the beginning. It's a spark that can incinerate a goddamn forest.
Interior, Parker family house, night. Mary sits at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee as JP washes his hands at the sink. He stands on a tarp.
How many?
9.
Mary walks over to JP. She pulls off his hoodie, stuffs it into a plastic bag. JP nods. His hands tremble. Mary puts her hands over his, helps him wash off the blood. Interior, police station interview room, day. PATTIE steps back into the room.
So you never heard of these gangs?
You ask as though I should care, like a monster's death is regrettable.
These monsters are locusts. They fear no one. These lowlives are a law unto themselves, and while it may take time, they'll figure out who fucked them.
Me?
If they see what I see.
And what do you see?
PATTIE stands, leans against a window.
Before I joined the force, I was also in the military. 10th Aviation Regiment. Flew helos supporting a Tier 1 operating team out of an FOB in the southern province of Afghanistan.
Thanks for your service, Sergeant.
Just doing my part. You want to know what I see when I look at you? I see a mask. Then I read through these records, these perfect, pristine records, and they start to look like a replica of a painting.
I do not understand.
Those Tier 1 guys I was telling you about? One night, they were shooting the shit about a wet ops unit operating out of Kandahar. You know the kind? CIA, paramilitary, identities unknown, all that plausible deniability bull. Now, those folks are badasses. For sure. And what they do is so secretive that their real-world identities are faked or fudged. Avatars of real people. So, here's the thing. When I look at you, my spidey senses tingle. I start to think, what if...
JP leans back in his seat, crosses his legs.
When on deployment, soldiers spend 95% of their time waiting. So they train. They eat, they drink, they exercise, and they tell tall tales.
Like I said, speaking shit.
Take, for example, a tale about a helo pilot stationed at a FOB in Herat. One night, this aviator flies a dust-off to grab some UN doctor stranded in a village about to be overrun by the Taliban. So, they had to execute fast. And by all accounts, Mission success. However, the pilot was unhappy because this was a children's surgery. They left behind local kids and staff. At base, the pilot pleads with their commanding officer to go back, but the CO orders them to stand down. The pilot ignores the order, sneaks off, takes an Apache, goes back to the village, and grabs the children and nurses before the Taliban arrived. Of course, the pilot was court-martialed, dishonorably discharged, but to the locals, she was a legend. They dubbed her the Angel of Herat.
Pattie's countenance changes to that of concern.
What a story. But, of course, it's untrue. If it were real, it would have been all over the news. CNN, 60 Minutes, Barbara Walters. But no one could corroborate this tale. Why? Probably because it was, like you said, soldiers speaking shit. But if it were true, by God, it would be buried so deep you would have to scour the Mariana Trench to find it.
Pattie shifts uncomfortably in her seat.
Who are you?
JP looks at his watch, then outside sees a black town car pull up to the front of the station.
Our time's nearly over, Sergeant.
Pattie sizes JP up. His demeanor has changed.
No matter how many you kill, others will just take their place. You get that, right?
To me, the war on terror was like the war on drugs. Political slogans designed to peddle fear. But we both understand wars can't be won by pruning a tree.
So, you want to go full Paul Bunyan?
The tree must be torn asunder, and the soil made toxic and infertile.
What about the sweet little critters who live in the trees?
The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants.
So, which one are you? Jefferson?
Once I was a son, a patriot, a father, a tower of strength. But now...
A knock at the door. Greg pops his head in. Interior, police station hallway day. Pattie is frustrated, annoyed. Greg is flustered.
Boss, Captain wants a word.
He can wait.
He can't. Commissioner's with him, plus a woman. A very scary-looking woman from the State Department.
Pattie looks at Greg to assess his seriousness. He nods back to her. Pattie glares at JP in the interview room. Interior, car, outside the police station, continuous. Mary sits on the driver's side. She sees JP speaking with a very scary-looking woman from the State Department. Then JP walks over to the car, gets in.
So?
JP hands Mary one torn half of a get-out-of-jail-free Monopoly card.
We're on our own. Also a parting gift.
He hands Mary a key with a round bronze key ring attached. There's an engraving, Kiki Storage, Juarez, Mexico.
Helpful.
Mary nods, puts on a pair of sunglasses, and starts the car. Exterior, police station, continuous. The car pulls out from the parking spot and heads down the street. Pattie walks out the door, notices the scary lady. The scary lady is snacking on a small bag of goldfish.
I got no idea who you are, but you know him. And I'm guessing you know where he's going, which means you also know a lot of people are going to die, including those who will just be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I say, get your pit bull back on a leash before it's too late.
Is that so? Well, I say, cry havoc, and let slip the dogs of war.
Scary lady finishes off her last goldfish, throws the empty bag into a garbage can. She then faces Pattie, takes Pattie's right hand, and then places her own hand in Pattie's.
Have yourself a nice life, Sergeant.
Scary lady walks away, humming the Beatles, Let It Be. Pattie looks into her right hand, sees a goldfish cracker, watches Scary lady walk away, and JP's car drive away.
That this foul deed shall smell above the earth. It smells like bullshit.
End.